Have you ever met someone and instantly felt like you've known them forever, even if you've just met? Or maybe you've walked into a room and felt a wave of energy, a mix of emotions you can't explain. What if these moments aren't coincidences? What if they're glimpses of a hidden truth that every single one of us is connected by one universal soul? It might sound unbelievable, but let's take a journey together that just might change how you see yourself and everyone around you. Think about the times you felt truly connected to a friend, a pet, or even a stranger. In those moments, you may have wondered, is there something tying us all together? Ancient spiritual traditions have spoken of this for centuries. In Hinduism, it's called Brahman, the soul that connects every being. In Buddhism, there is no separate self. We are all parts of a larger whole. Indigenous tribes around the world often describe life as a web, with every being, every leaf and stone interconnected. But is there any real evidence behind these beliefs? That's what we're about to uncover. Let's start with a phenomenon scientists can't fully explain: near-death experiences. When people come close to death, many describe leaving their bodies, floating above themselves, and feeling an overwhelming sense of oneness with everything. In a 2014 study published in the journal Resuscitation, nearly 40% of people who experienced clinical death reported feeling a deep, unbreakable connection to the universe. One man, during his near-death experience, said, "I felt like I was everything and everyone all at once. There were no walls, no barriers, just love, connection, and unity." Skeptics might say it's just the brain shutting down, but for those who've been there, it's more real than anything they've ever felt. And this idea isn't just limited to people on the edge of life. In the world of quantum physics, there's something called entanglement. When two particles become entangled, they stay connected, no matter how far apart they are. Change one, and the other changes instantly, even if they're light years apart. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. But what if this isn't just about particles? What if it hints at a connection that runs through all of us, tying every soul together, across time and space? Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt the pain of someone you love, even when they're far away? Maybe you woke up suddenly, sensing that something was wrong, only to learn later that they were going through a tough time. Scientists have found that our brains contain mirror neurons, special cells that let us feel what others are feeling. They're the reason you wince when you see someone get hurt, or why you smile when you see a baby laugh. But what if these neurons are just the tip of the iceberg? What if they're a window into the fact that, at a deeper level, we are all one? Now, I want to tell you about a man named James. James had a near-death experience after a car accident. He described floating above his body, watching doctors work to save him. But what came next changed him forever. He felt himself become part of an endless ocean of light, not separate, but part of a whole. Every person he'd hurt, every person he'd loved, he felt their experiences as if they were his own. When he woke up, he couldn't go back to living the same way. He treated every person as if they were a piece of him. His story isn't unique. In fact, researchers have studied thousands of people who've reported similar experiences, and most of them come back more compassionate, more empathetic, and more convinced than ever that we are all connected. Have you ever wondered why certain symbols and stories appear in every culture, even when those cultures never met? The hero's journey, the wise elder, the trickster. Carl Jung, one of the most influential psychologists in history, believed it was because of something he called the collective unconscious. Jung proposed that all human beings share a deep reservoir of memories, instincts, and symbols. It's why myths and dreams can feel so universal. In 2013, a study found that people across different cultures recognize the same facial expressions for emotions like joy, sadness, and fear. It's as if we're all speaking the same ancient language, one rooted in a shared soul. Let's bring it closer to home. Think about a time you felt truly connected to nature. Maybe you stood under a star-filled sky or listened to waves crash against the shore. For a moment, you felt small, but also deeply connected to everything around you. Scientists have found that spending just 20 minutes in nature can lower stress hormones and increase feelings of connection. But why does being in nature touch us so deeply? Maybe it's because, in those moments, we remember that we're not separate. We're part of one living, breathing whole. There's another idea worth exploring: morphic resonance, proposed by biologist Rupert Sheldrake. He suggests that all living things are connected through a field of shared memory. In one experiment, rats in different locations learned a maze faster after other rats had already solved it, as if they were tapping into a collective memory. Some scientists dismiss it as pseudoscience, but what if there's a kernel of truth? If animals can share knowledge, what about us? Could it explain why trends and ideas spread like wildfire, or why we sometimes just know what someone else is thinking? Let's pause for a moment. If we truly share one soul, what does that mean for our actions? Every kind word, every act of hate, it would all ripple through the same consciousness. Indigenous traditions often teach that harming another being is like harming yourself, and modern research is starting to catch up. Studies show that acts of compassion trigger a helper's high, a rush of feel-good chemicals in the brain. It's almost as if our biology is wired to remind us we're all in this together. I want to share another story with you. In the 1970s, a woman named Linda experienced a life review during a near-death experience. She didn't just see her life flash before her eyes, she felt it, from every perspective. Every act of kindness, every harsh word, she felt it all, as if she were both the giver and the receiver. She came back with one conviction: we are all connected, and science might back her up. A 2011 Harvard study found that just 8 weeks of compassion meditation can physically change the brain, increasing empathy and self-awareness. Have you ever experienced déjà vu? That strange, fleeting feeling that you've been here before, even when you know it's impossible? In cultures that believe in reincarnation, déjà vu is seen as a glimpse of a past life, a sign that our soul is on a long journey, living many lives. Whether you believe in reincarnation or not, the idea that our consciousness can transcend one lifetime hints at something profound. A soul that isn't confined to one body, one moment. I want you to think about the people you care about most, your family, your friends, even your pets. If we are all connected, if we share one soul, then every smile, every tear, every act of kindness or cruelty becomes part of that shared experience. It's a ripple effect. What we do to others, we do to ourselves. Research shows that even witnessing acts of kindness triggers a response in our brains, making us more likely to act kindly ourselves. It's as if compassion is contagious, because, in a way, we're all part of the same story. But let's not forget the mystery and the questions that remain. Across the world, people have experienced things science can't fully explain. Children recalling detailed memories of past lives, people waking from comas speaking languages they've never learned, stories of telepathy, synchronicity, and moments of deep intuition. Are these just coincidences? Or could they be clues that our soul is far more complex and connected than we've ever imagined? If we truly share one soul, it raises profound questions. Would we treat each other differently? Would we choose love over hate, connection over division? Imagine a world where every person saw themselves in everyone else. How would it change the way we live, the way we love, the way we forgive? So I leave you with this thought. If every person you meet, every stranger, every friend is a reflection of your own soul, how would you live differently? Thank you for joining me on this journey. If this idea touched something deep within you, please subscribe to Universal Insights. Share this video with those who seek meaning beyond the surface. And tell us in the comments, do you believe we all share one soul? Your thoughts, your feelings, they matter. Because we're all part of this great mystery together.